Okay, so hello. I hope everyone is doing really well. Now, today we're going to be covering the MVP process. And let me just share the screen to what I want to actually share. So here we go. So that's a bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Advertising for myself here. And okay, so this is all about going from goal setting to goal getting. Now, if you've seen all of the other webinars, you're going to recognize some of these slides already, but for the MVP process, let's just make that bigger for posterity, shall we? There we go, which stands for mission, vision, principles. And you'll understand why it's so important to have this all together by the end. And as ever, one of my favorite quotes, it's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And if you've read The Healthy Deviant, you will know that we are a profoundly sick society and we are just too adjusted to it. And there's a favorite quote from Aldous Huxley. You can read that on playback because it's you who decide to get healthier, not the drug companies, not the doctor, not genetics. It's actually more down to you than you realize. Most of your health is down to your choices. Genetics at most is 20% of your health, and a large majority of that is actually changed by what you eat. Now, if you want to teach people a new way of thinking, like teaching people that they can actually be healthy, that the choices that they make are more important than their genes. If you want to teach people a new way of thinking, don't try and teach them, which is what I am doing. Instead, give them a tool, which I am doing. I'm going to be giving you two tools. One is the MVP process, and one I've already given you, but maybe you're going to take me up on it this time. And the use of which will lead to new ways of thinking. So today, that tool we're talking about is the MVP process. And there are a number of parts to it, and you can chop and change. And I'm going to give you a blueprint. And say you have mission, vision, EWL goals for the next 90 days, or you could do the next year, you could do whatever you wanted, basically. And then understanding, this is my addition, understanding your top 5 virtues, so important. If you don't know why your 5 virtues, top 5 unique virtues, unique virtues, if you don't know why they are so important, then go back and watch the energy webinar that I did beginning of last year. Top 2 human needs, go back to the last week's webinar. Principles, you might have to do a whole webinar on principles. Your one-word intention, although mine isn't one word, and your definition of success. And your one-word intention is for the next 90 days, not for the rest of your life, unless you so choose. Now, the MVP process is something that I learned from the Mental Performance Mastery course. These are the things that we're going to be covering over the next year in different ways, coming back to and fro. And again, you can read this at your own leisure on the replay. I learned about the MVP process through my Heroic coaching program, which brings me to the Heroic app, which you can download. And that is a tool I'm going to come back to again because it has a number of benefits. And that's the Heroic protocol of things as well. So you can read that. And that's the Heroic soul force equation, which we'll all get to. Magnificent 7 health strategies, going to talk about that later on today. The fantastic functional 3 you already know about. So mission, let's start with the M of the MVP. So what is your mission in life? People who know their mission and know their purpose, so you could put purpose down here as well, although this maybe comes in with vision. And it depends on who you listen to as to what the difference between mission and vision is, because there is a difference. And really, it doesn't matter what you choose and how you choose to put this down, as long as you start thinking about it. And so your mission could be as simple as trying to get healthier. Your mission could be to bring up healthy children. Your mission could be to be around for your grandchildren. Your mission can be volunteering. There's some quotes and some ideas to help you, okay? But overall, your mission is first of all, know the game you're playing. And the game we actually should all be playing is the game of self-actualization and living a life of eudaimonia. Again, if you don't know what self-actualization and eudaimonia is all about, I've done webinars on it, and I'll be coming back to them briefly to help you. A mission basically provides direction and intensity to your life, meaning and discipline, because if you know what you want, you know where the target is, and you're going to be more likely to try and get there. So you can create your personal mission statement, and this is what this is all about. And so think of it as what you want people to say about you in some ways when you leave this world. It can be a paragraph, a few sentences, if I can spell sentences correctly, and you may be able to make it a succinct statement. Now, my thing, obviously, I'm not going to actually have this on my gravestone. Oh, we're going to get there in a minute. Eudaimonia. Eudaimonia basically is flourishing or expressing the best version of yourself moment to moment to moment, a deep sense of joy. And that comes from self-actualization, which is realizing that life is about more than just you. It gives you so much satisfaction and joy when you know that life is about more than you, but you are needed in this life because you have unique gifts, whatever those may be, at whatever level. So my kind of mission statement to myself is based on the work of Mr. Paul Dunn, who runs a company now called Buy One, Get One, which is a charitable worldwide foundation. Anyway, so you can look up B1G1, Buy One, Get One, and Paul Dunn. And he came up with the thing is when he wakes up in the morning, because this is one of the best times, you get into a routine of waking up every morning, knowing what you want to do, knowing what's called your ikigai in French, your purpose for being, or your reason for being here. So is this blueprint of I wake up every morning, so that. And so my I wake up every morning statement is I wake up every morning to inspire everyone I interact with to take self-health seriously and see that achieving optimal health is part of their social responsibility for a sustainable, peaceful planet Earth, so that they in turn try to inspire others towards more health, to a more healthy, happy future for us all. There you go. Yeah, there we go. That's mine. You can take that and run with that if you want. You can make your own version around that. You can come up with a completely different formula. The idea is to start thinking about what it is that's your mission. And to help you, again, I'm not going to read all these out, but Epictetus, Stoic philosopher, he talks about what meaning is. James Stockdale, you can actually look up Admiral Stockdale on YouTube, making your own bed, or why it's important to make your own bed. His story about how he was a prisoner of war and how it's his philosophy that got him through. Viktor Frankl, finding meaning in life. He wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. It's about his experience in Auschwitz and another, and I think it was Dachau, but basically Jewish in the concentration camps. In the concentration camps during World War II, he survived through finding deeper meaning even there. So you don't have to go through these extremes. You don't have to be a prisoner of war. You don't have to become a Stoic philosopher. And there's a great book called Noble Purpose, The Joy of Living a Meaningful Life. And he's actually studied purpose and meaning. And yeah, purpose is a stable and generalized intention to accomplish something both meaningful to self and of consequence to the world beyond the self, so just beyond you. While Angela Duckworth, who wrote a book all about grit, says the intention to purpose means a contribution to the intention to contribute to the well-being of others. And then in Authentic Happiness, Martin Seligman, again, another great psychologist, puts it this way: any job can become a calling, and any calling can become a job. A physician who views the work as a job and is simply interested in making a good income does not have a calling, while a garbage collector who sees the work as making the world a cleaner, healthier place could have a calling. So calling, as much as anything, is, as Viktor Frankl puts it in Man's Search for Meaning, is about your own interpretation of what you're doing and giving it meaning. And then back to a noble purpose: a mother caring for her child, a teacher instructing students, a doctor healing patients, a citizen campaigning for a candidate for the sake of improving society. All are pursuing noble purposes. So too are the legions of people who dedicate time, care, effort, and worldly goods to charity, to their friends and family, to their communities, and to God. So there's all kinds of things that can donate as a noble purpose, as a mission, as it were. And Martin Luther King Jr., everyone can be great because everyone can serve. So I'm going to show you an example of the MVP process and how it's laid out in a template you can use as well. So the next thing is vision. So vision, so what do you want for your life? What are your wildly important goals? So your mission is kind of an overall saying of how you're going to be in the world, how you want others to think of you, like an amazing person, a lovely person, caring person. Okay, but these are your bigger goals, the actual things you want to kind of achieve. And so the reason we want to sort of have these sort of in mind about who you want to be and how you want to be is because you're more likely to get there if you actually know what you want to achieve in the future. And there was some interesting, I'm reading this up so you can actually read it in your own time, but there was a study done looking at what's called functional MRIs, which is how your brain's working. And they asked people to visualize their future selves. And basically, if you identified as your future self as things as possible, if you then different parts of the brain worked out, and it actually was more like the areas of who you think you are. So what they found is people who sort of thought their future selves were possible thought of it as themselves, whereas people who thought things were unattainable or hadn't thought about future stuff, it just didn't happen. They thought it was the stranger part of their brain that lit up. I hope that makes sense. You can read this at your own leisure. So if you want to become something better in the future, you need to identify it as you. So writing stuff down, looking at it at a daily basis is important. And it also keeps you on track as to what your target is. So yes, so my wildly important goal is to transform the NHS in the way that modern healthcare delivers and maintains optimal health and wellness on a global and individual level. And then, of course, I want to help achieve world peace because everyone becomes so much more peaceful and so much happier. And these are the sorts of things like world peace. People, it's so easy to poo-poo the idea of working towards world peace because you think, how can I possibly do this? When you start reading books on world peace and all the Nobel Peace Prize winners, you realize how we can all play a simple part. And I've got some quotes on this. No, I haven't got some quotes on trying to achieve world peace and how all these little things add up. But if you get the idea of trying to get a formulation of who you are, maybe read some of these books, watch some of my past webinars, look at some of the TED Talks on how to find your purpose in life, and or even just identifying with what you already do as incredibly meaningful. Read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. What you do is already meaningful when you search enough. So the EWL 90-day goals. E stands for energy or health. W stands for work, could be service though, or contribution. And L stands for love and relationships. And this is about what you want to achieve in the next 90 days in each of those areas that will in some way help you towards your wildly important big goals. Because I'm not going to achieve world peace in 90 days. I'm not going to change the NHS in 90 days, but I can set forwards things. I can put into motion things that can actually help me over the next 90 days. But what we're here today to talk about is more the energy health side of things. And in a great business book called The 4 Rules of Engagement, they spoke about how it's more important to manage your energy than it is your time. Because if you manage your energy, you have basically the conditions for your genius to be consistent. Because without consistent energy, you can't do the things you need to do. And so building your health consists of certain fundamentals, the Magnificent Seven. And a great phrase that I got from The Heroic community, before it was called heroic, it was called optimize, was basically building your health is building your optimizing engine, your engine that gets you going to what you want to do. And so the basics, what I call the Magnificent Seven of think right, talk right, drink right, eat right, move right, detox right, and sleep right, are what helps keep your body, brain, and bowel very, very healthy. And they, help protect you against everything that happens in the world outside. And all these webinars are really dealing with the think right and talk right communication, I suppose we will cover as well. And I will keep reminding people to drink right, eat right, move right, detox right, and sleep right. And some of the fundamental things, so if you want to start filling out the energy part, the health part of your MVP process, don't worry, I am going to show you a template. Some of the fundamentals of health are fresh fiber first. Try and get 30 grams a day. And then if you're already getting 30 grams a day, then increase it, double it, because it doesn't seem to matter how much fiber you have. Pretty much more is nearly always better. Breathe through your nose. This is a big problem. So many people are not breathing through their nose. It makes a huge difference to your health. Done talks about this. Hydration, absolutely key to make sure if your brain's not hydrated, your brain won't work properly. If your muscles aren't hydrated, your muscles don't work properly. And it's not just about drinking water. Walk a minimum of 6,000 steps a day in order for your brain to work properly. Spinal hygiene exercises. If your spine isn't moving properly, your brain can't work properly. And sleep. Maybe get some extra sleep, because if you don't get enough sleep, your brain won't work properly. Now, more than that as well, it's blood sugar, all kinds of things. But those are some of the biggest fundamentals of everything that's going on in the human body. So if you aren't hitting those, then work on those and make that your mission. Now, talking about other fundamentals, your unique virtues, it's very important for self-actualization and human needs. And if you've forgotten the 6 human needs, or haven't seen that, you can read through those and go back to last week's webinar. And we're going to get to principles in a moment, but let's just go to this. Your 5 unique virtues. There are a number of virtues that we all share in common, like courage and wisdom. Wisdom is a virtue. Love, gratitude, curiosity, hope, zestiness, energy. Actually, zest is a very important virtue, but there are unique virtues to you. And there's a website you can go to, I think it's called Strengths Identifier or Virtues Identifier. I talk about it in previous webinars. If you haven't seen the energy webinar, go and watch it, because I talk about why it's so important. And last week I spoke about the human needs. So this now brings us on to principles. And I can't remember where this quote came from. A boy lives by preference, a man lives by principle. So if you don't have principles guiding your life, which you might do, but you've maybe never identified them, then you are letting somebody else guide your life, like the news or the media or friends or family, in a way that maybe you don't want to. So preferences, you always do what you feel like doing, whereas your principles basically guide you to do so you can live and be and behave as the person you want to be. And your principles, if you know what your top 5 virtues are, which you're living every day, but you actually consciously start knowing what it is, and you know what your human needs are, you can start writing down your own principles. Okay. Ooh, definitely. So let me just share. I'm going to stop sharing there, and I'm going to share my principles. There we go. Which might not look big enough here. View 100%. Can I make it bigger? Zoom 200%. Okay, here you go. And so I wrote these a while back, before I had the MVP process. Chris is get the tough shit done and do it with love, principles for living. And this is, I learned this via MI365 and Pete Cohen. That's what inspired me to actually put this together. And so first of all, live the magnificent self. Adhere to the Eightfold Path, which is from Buddhism. I'm not a Buddhist, but I love the Eightfold Path. Right understanding, so understanding the nature of reality, right attitude, try and put forward the right attitude in life, which comes from knowing your virtues, right speech, that's communication, that's talk right actions, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. So again, it comes from Buddhism, but it's very powerful to actually start thinking about this every day and perfect the 6 qualities. So again, this is from Buddhism. So controlling your thoughts, controlling your actions, cultivating perseverance, tolerance of all people and circumstances, impartiality in faith and trust, and equanimity, which is a balance of emotions and inner harmony. And I think these sort of the Eightfold Path and the 6 qualities of Buddhism, I think they're something that can be, they're in every religion anyway, but Buddhism, I think, just puts them together nicely. And then think like Gandhi. Think like Gandhi. Be the change you want to see in the world. World peace starts with self-peace. That was me. Let your life be your message. Actions express priorities. I read Gandhi's first part of his autobiography, and it really is absolutely amazing. It makes you realize how you can change by being peaceful. My purpose is my passion is my compass. World peace starts with self-peace. Self-peace starts with self-health. Commit to Kaizen, which is now, so Kaizen is basically never-ending little bits of improvement, or process versus outcomes, which is, I think, pillar number 5 of mental performance mastery. And then tap into the power of the mastermind. So it's actually where you're not just relying on yourself, you're speaking to other people, allowing other people to actually understand what's going on. You're trying to help other people as well, which starts to get in towards helping other people. Lead like Powell. So Colin Powell, general. So whereas Gandhi was not military, Colin Powell was military, but again, he had great principles. Being responsible sometimes means pissing people off. Gandhi was up to that as well. You don't know what you can get away with until you try. So just try stuff. And again, perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. Keep looking below surface appearance. Don't shrink from doing so just because you might not like what you find. About being brave and courageous. And yeah, Colin Powell wanted to avoid war at all costs, but not all costs, but he was willing to go where it needed, and he sought peace and was a great leader. Effectiveness beats efficiency. Organization requires effort. Ask better questions. That was from Tony Robbins. Practice the golden rule. That's from Buckminster Fuller. Go the extra tree. That was me when I was training for my marathon. Instead of go the extra mile, go the extra tree, get to the next bit, get to the next stage. It's effort. Yes, it just keeps me reminding of just keep on going. That also goes back up to here, which is cultivation of perseverance. Okay, low tolerance, high standards. Everybody is potentially a friend. We are more alike than we are different, and do what you say you are going to do. And this has just reminded me that there is something missing from the MVP process that I learned, but I haven't put in. So stop share. And then we're going to go back to sharing my screen. Dum, dum, dum. Share. Can we go back to here? Share. And I'm going to go to here. New slide. Above the line and below the line. So I'll have an addition to add to this. So principles we've spoken about, your definition of success. So what is your definition of success? Now, one of the ones that I came across health-wise that was my friend Paul, oh my God, I've forgotten his name. Anyway, he's a chiropractor. I can't believe I forgot. I can't believe I forgot his name. Anyway, being able to do what you want, being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it is a great definition of health and also success. But my current definition of success, I nicked from John Wooden, who was an amazing coach. Success is peace of mind that is the direct result of self-satisfaction in knowing that you did your best to become the best that you are capable of becoming, i.e., you tried to self-actualize. You tried, basically. And just that is a great, simple definition of success. You tried. Then your one-word focus. So my one-word focus for the next 90 days is to help me build systems in the clinic, systems of actually setting all my routines on a daily basis, systems for weekly stuff, systems throughout the year, but also tenacity, which comes back to perseverance, focus, and measuring things, because what you measure will improve, which brings me to this quote by Benjamin Disraeli. The secret of success is, I'm going to move that. The secret of success is consistency of purpose. Benjamin Disraeli, the Prime Minister, ex-Prime Minister, very good Prime Minister, possibly. And this is one of the benefits of the Heroic app, because it allows you to sort of plug in your virtues and plug in what you're meant to do every day. So you're writing it in a different way, and it actually adds to and helps enhance the MVP process, which we're going to get to in a moment. And it will help make you more energized, more productive, and more connected, because you are focusing and you are measuring all of the things that you set to do, which I've realized I've missed out a part on my own MVP process. Oh, where's the, I'm going to make this bigger. Low tolerance, high standards, or above the line, below the line. And so basically, below the line, that's basically your tolerances. What are you going to not tolerate? And what are the things you want to do? So your high standards of things you're actually committing to do on a daily basis. So your routines, basically. So you want to write them down. What other things? So for me, I exercise. It's breathing exercises. I'll show you in a minute. Certain types of exercise, and what's not accepted. What's the minimum amount of stuff that below which you will not accept? Whether it's a behavior, whether it's food you want to avoid. There's all kinds of things that can be above and below the line. And when I send you links to MVP processes, you'll get an idea. But let's now go to, you are sharing screen, so I'm going to stop share. And I'm going to, let's see, self-work MVP process. Here we go. Copy. That's going to do these again. And MVP process. Okay. Copy. Boom. And then we have that the whole one. Yes, it is. Back to Zoom. Oh, something's going wrong. Share screen. Where are we? Whiteboard, self-work, inbox, January week 4, my principles, MV process. Ah, there you go, that one. Here we go. MVP. So these are directly from Brian Kane, who he's the inventor of the MVP process. And so this is a blank template. So life mission with some ideas, life vision, telescope goals, as opposed to microscope goals, which are what you're getting on with now, energy, quarterly vision, work, quarterly vision, love, quarterly vision. I've added this in, my current top virtue strength. I've added this in, my top human needs, core principles. I'll show you my one word attention and definition of success. But what I've realized is missing is, so this is Brian Kane's. Q1 2023 personal MVP process. And so one word focus, so his one word focus clarity, and then he's actually written about what he wants to get done. His core principles, he's actually got an acronym, APPLES, accountability partners, he's put in here as well, life mission, life vision, his energy, he's broken it down into different areas, his love, he's broken it down into different areas, work, he's got lots of different goals set out. Above the line, below the line behaviors. So above the line, keystone behaviors. So what are the three things? Lights out before 8, sweat before screen, so actually gets up and exercises before he looks at anything, and lots of deep work. Below the line, saying yes too often, social activities that break my nutritional goals, failing to plan my day or sticking to the daily plan. Definition of success. And then we have one of his athletes that he's allowed to share. So his life mission, his life vision, so it's graduating, quarterly visions for work, love, etc. Definition of success, one word. And then this is another one. So again, core principles, one word definition. So again, that's why I didn't have above the line, below the line in mind, because, sorry for this, because Brian put it in his, but he hadn't put it in the athletes one. I copied one of the athletes ones. So, and you can play around with it. It doesn't have to, let's see, they don't all have to look the same. I'll give you a link so you can have a look at it and you can copy your own version of this, and you can have a look at these to actually go through as well. So here's an athletes one. This is a good way to, so I'm just blurbing through there for you. But let's now have a look at mine now. Will it change? Will it change if I personal? Yes, so hopefully you can now see mine. Right. So template Chris Pickard Q1. So I have put my life mission, plus I've also put these questions here, which is what Brendan Burchard asked, because Brendan Burchard, he's got a good way of putting mission and vision together as well. And he asked, you know, did I live, did I love, did I matter at the end of every day? My life vision, energy quarterly vision, so I'm going to do some detox. I'm going to do a founder every day, work on foundation 2.0 with weights. This is my own thing that I'm trying to put together. Gain 4 pounds of muscle over the next 90 days. Less than that left now. Education mindset +1s, Brian Kane stuff, heroic advanced training, sleep, increase it by 30 minutes. Routines. Now this is actually from one of the routines are the foundation of consistent performance. And so I exercises 3 times a day, the founder, wall walking, which is an exercise for the spine. I haven't fully filled out my MVP process because I've had things all separate and all over the place. I haven't put in all of my financial goals onto this sheet yet, but my work, some of my work goals over the next 90 days to help me, team weekly development, some things to do with the family, catching up with people, community charity, buy one, get one, which you may remember from Paul Dunn. My top 5 virtues: humor, fairness, forgiveness, love of learning and perspective. And also, I've also put in here 2 that I want to work on: leadership and teamwork. My top 2 human needs: variety and growth. And then my core principles I've stuck in here to remind myself. And then the one word intention, although that's 4, and then John Wooden's definition of success. So this is a great way of just keeping everything together in one place that helps keep you on track. And I really hope that this is going to inspire you to try and keep on track. Now let's just go back to sharing over here, because it's consistency that will lead to success. And yeah, that was it basically. And then if you do want more help with it, whether it's personal coaching, whether you have a particular health problem, then you can look at one of my websites, beatbloodpressure.com, if you have more serious problems. It's not just blood pressure, but energy, immune problems. And if you want coaching as well. And then there's bodyimbalanceuk.com if you're local and you've got basically just aches and pains that you want to get rid of. So I hope you found that very useful. And yeah, I wish you well, wherever you are, and feel free to reach out and ask questions. So I'm now going to stop recording, and if I can find the record button to stop, let's see, and bye for now. Stop recording. Doom.